Welcome to the introduction of Microsoft 365 Business Voice. My name is Michael Gore, and over the next few slides, I hope to be able to take you through the emergence of Business Voice, where it sits currently, and what the positive implications are for the future. So how does Business Voice fit into the existing telephony landscape? The existing landscape is primarily made up of on-premise telephone systems from a variety of manufacturers, whether they be Mitel, Alcatel, Siemens, Avaya. There are many different manufacturers, and lots of companies have them as an on-premise solution, typically in sort of an equipment room with telephones which are hardwired back to desks or wherever it happens to be, and that would be a typical installation. That landscape is changing, and there are cloud telephony solutions from other suppliers as well, where you are effectively moving your telephony system that's on-premise into the cloud. And there again, some of the usual suspects are the ones that you would find in an on-premise environment as well. The holy grail of everything has always been talked about as unified communications, or UCaaS, that we have here. And unified communications is where the requirement is much greater than just pure telephony. We've seen examples of this with Teams, which some of you may be familiar with, and it's the additional voice capability, a business voice capability, that brings all this to life. If we look at today's fragmented approach, you have disparate elements that different manufacturers bring together to create this unified communications. So from different manufacturers, you have fixed line providers, video conference services from third-party companies, collaborative point solutions from the likes of Google, obviously Microsoft, AWS, and the manufacturers. And this is what it would look like, very fragmented and not really the requirement for today's modern business. If you take all of these, utilizing Windows, switchboard attendant, all of the cloud services that attempt to do the business communications, unified communications, as I mentioned, they bring this together. It's called unified communications, but it fails because of the different elements not coming from one single source. So now that we've outlined what the current landscape looks like, it's perhaps worth exploring what Business Voice is and how can it benefit your business. Business Voice was introduced by Microsoft September 2019, and we were the chosen partners of Microsoft to bring this solution to marketplace, which we have successfully done. It is the phone system built for productivity. Unlike all the other solutions that are out there, everything is underpinned by Microsoft 365. So it is complete integration into that ecosystem that Microsoft have on the desktop. So let's look at that in a little more detail. Business Voice consists of full PBX functionality, private branch exchange for those who are not aware. In a telephone system, whether it's the on-premise type, in the cloud, you have to have a full set of features: pickup groups, call groups, automated attendant, interactive voice response, and so on and so forth. Business Voice offers all of that. There is an element of instant messaging that's required. That's achieved through Teams, of which some of you may be using already. There's a new generation of collaboration that's required, whiteboarding. Many of us use whiteboarding within our calls, an extremely useful feature when you have multiple people on a call from in multiple different locations, all of them involved in the development, whether it be a presentation of this nature or anything else. There's integration with the corporate directory, and of course, video and audio conferencing, which we are showing as we're doing this presentation. There is integration with your calendar and email, customer relationship management, and enterprise resource integration. All of these things sit within Microsoft 365, utilizing Business Voice, a good example of unified communications. Regardless of where you are, you can utilize Business Voice. We're in a period of COVID, as we all know, where hybrid working has been introduced. Hybrid working, let's face it, was forced upon us. Many people had to work from home. The introduction of Business Voice from that point of view, in conjunction with Teams, allowed companies to still function. So many people that would have been furloughed found themselves back working full time because of the introduction of this technology. You can call from anywhere. You can call from any device. My Business Voice is available on laptop, desktop, on a mobile phone, as shown in the graphic there, on iPads, but Android equipment, and so on. The interface that comes with Business Voice is Teams. Many of you, as I say, will probably be using Teams already and be familiar with the layout of Teams. The introduction of Business Voice effectively puts a dial pad in there, but a lot more besides. You have your contacts, so you can communicate from a single app, regardless of where you are. One of the things that I'm asked many times is, can you import your contacts that are in Outlook into Teams and use them with Business Voice? Well, the answer, of course, is yes, because it is part of the 365 family. And finally, save time and money. Having everything in one single place, the unified communications, allows us to be more efficient and more optimized in the way that people can contact us or we can contact them. I mentioned earlier the hybrid working options that are available. Hybrid working is just another way of saying you can work from anywhere. It is something that many companies now embrace, not because they have to, but they've recognized that is a much more efficient way of utilizing the resources that you have. Some companies are looking to downsize in relation to their office space. It's just not required anymore. Hot desking opportunities are available. So hybrid working is something that's here to stay, and Business Voice completely accommodates that. You have the option to include people in a pre-arranged meeting, in a meeting that you wish people to join that's already in place. So take this, for example. If I wanted to, I could now include more people simply by dialing them and bringing them in. So dialing them, utilizing Business Voice, and bringing them into the meeting through Teams. The days of SIP trunks have gone away in relation to Business Voice. They are no longer needed. You can start a call, you can include people in that call, you can join meetings right from Outlook, right from within the interface of Teams on any browser. So what are the features of Business Voice? They are split into two elements. You have the functional calling element and the administration. From a calling point of view, all the features and functionality within calling are that you would expect on any traditional PBX, whether it be cloud-based or on-premise, including call control, part call forwarding. There's an extensive list that you can implement. From an administration point of view, you have the ability to port numbers. One of the things that I'm asked on a regular basis is, what will happen to my existing numbers? Well, the answer is that these numbers will be ported across onto Business Voice. Or indeed, you could use the numbers that come with Business Voice as well. My advice is always to port your numbers, because they are precious numbers in that you probably have them for some considerable time, are recognizable by your customers, and probably have a primary number as well. In addition to that, you can control your music on hold, call routing, performance reports, call logs, etc. There are many, many things that you can perform from an administration point for yourselves. For most companies, the introduction of Business Voice in conjunction with Teams is to actually remove devices. Many companies use headsets, hockey pucks as they call them, which is a speaker here that I'm using today. The need for hardware on the desk is not the same as it was. Having said that, there are a number of times where people do want to have hardware on the desk, telephones on the desk, and there is a variety of available Business Voice approved handsets where we are in a position to supply. There are individual handsets and there are meeting room devices. Meeting room devices is a whole different subject in itself. Many companies will have made an investment into meeting room devices already and would like to be able to retain that equipment, not least of which because it's probably been a significant investment. There are solutions to be able to do that, which is cloud video interop. And there are different companies, Poly being one, Blue Jeans and Pexip, who have the ability to offer cloud video interop into existing boardroom equipment. There are a significant number of manufacturer equipment that can be supported, but that is information that we can give to you should you require it outside of this discussion. For those that want a meeting room devices where they do not have anything, there are a number of Teams approved devices from different manufacturers, Yealink being one that we at Cobweb particularly favour, but there are others available. There are different ways to get business voice. One is business voice with a calling plan, which is a straightforward license, which includes a calling plan, which gives you inclusive 1200 minutes, can be either domestic or mobile. That comes with each license. It's worth mentioning as well that whilst it's 1200 minutes per user, those minutes can be shared as well. So if you've got 10 users, you've got 12,000 minutes. If you've got 100 users, you've got 120,000 minutes. All of them can be shared. There is an option to take business voice without a calling plan. If you choose this option, you need to have an alternative way of linking to Microsoft, known as direct routing. Direct routing can be made to sound a complex subject, where in point of fact, it really isn't. Direct routing is where, as a company, you choose to retain the company that you already get your connectivity with, because you may be happy with the plans that they've got in place. You may be in contract to them for some time, but it gives you the opportunity to still have business voice. And effectively what happens, the direct routing company point your traffic into Microsoft, utilizing their calling plans, as I say, which you may already have in place. Another requirement sometimes is where a company has an existing telephony solution, whether it be an on-premise one or a cloud one, which they may be in contract with, maybe for another couple of years, but want to avail themselves of Teams into working now with business voice. We can also do that. There is a solution called Call to Teams, which effectively links an existing PBX into Microsoft so that you can use all the features and functionality that I've just mentioned. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for attending. That concludes our overview of business voice. If you have any questions, please contact your account manager or indeed hello@cobweb.com, and we'll be happy to get in contact with you and answer any questions that you may have. Thank you once again.